The writer's strike is almost over, with the unions left with one problem.
As they decide whether to share or to shaft.
Because the studios offered them their best and final offer, and it seems while most points have been agreed, they're just hammering out the language for the legal issues at the moment. But you know what that means? It's not finished yet, so there's still time to take the piss.
I am striking here at Fox because I believe in solidarity.
The solidarity of what, love? You've either just said that you believe in physical matter, or just because your mate can't be bothered to work, you think you shouldn't work either. Which, considering the final sticking points were surrounding AI and staffing levels in the writer's room, it's likely you'll be able to engage in solidarity of your co-workers in unemployment as well.
We are union through and through, all the way to the end.
Even as it drives us straight off a cliff.
I believe writers deserve, what they deserve.
It was at that moment that I realised I was dealing with a mighty intellect. The strange thing is, there is an absolute ton of talk about giving the writers what they deserve.
I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
You have to be careful about asking for what you deserve, because you don't actually know what that is. And you have to be doubly careful, because the studios might just give it to you. I mean, let's not beat around the bush about what these strikes have done recently. We have random influencers who have nothing to do with acting or writing having to turn down work despite it not actually breaking any rules. They're not acting or writing. Why should they do what you say? But these unions think they have the power of God and the literal right to control everybody on Earth. The implicit message from the Actors Guild is this: we're the gatekeepers of the career you want. If you don't follow our rules, you won't be able to join us. That door will be closed to you. We will threaten and bully you until you do as we command. Bow down, snail.
Writers deserve what they deserve.
Then, of course, we had Bill Maher, both of which were bringing out their shows because their staff, who have nothing to do with the Writers Guild or the Actors Guild, were losing their homes and their livelihoods, and yet, despite them having absolutely nothing to do with the guilds that were on strike, they got bullied and punished until they had to close down their shows because I guess their workers just don't matter. Because both of these were unscripted shows and therefore didn't need any writers. Real Time is coming back without writers or writing, but that didn't stop the WGA coming out and going, when a host says they're producing a show during a strike but doing so in compliance with the rules, that's not true, because we own you and own everything. It doesn't matter whether it's got nothing to do with us, it's ours.
Writers deserve
Starvation wages. Dreams really can come true.
This is like the mafia tactics coming out with a protection racket. If you were filming a show during a strike, somebody is performing that striker's work, and that person is scabbing. Never looked up what scabbing means, still don't care. If you want to insult people, do it with language within their own terminology. Don't make stuff up in your own little weird utopia. You can only offend people who already agree with you. I'd tap dance across your picket lines waving a bag of avocado on toast around. Oh, please don't call me a dry, rough, protective crust. How will I ever cope? You're writers. You've been gone for months. The least you could have done is come up with a decent insult. The best thing is, you've happened to come up with an insult where you're a disease and the people that go against you are the moral ones healing it. Oh, pray tell us, what do you deserve?
Does it matter?
Unless you are being filmed sitting perfectly still, standing on a set doing nothing but breathing, someone is pitching ideas, writing, editing, planning segments, all of which is writing, but they're not part of your pissing union. You don't own people. They are not your property, and they have nothing to do with you. Probably because they've got more sense. But we think we own everything. I just wrote about sitting still and breathing, so you can't have that one either. Was this the same for when Conan, Stewart and Colbert did their shows? Yes, it was different, because the rules were different then, and now we've changed them. Oh, it's fine for these people to do their shows, but not you. You know, we're gonna decide whether you're a scab or not on an individual basis at our whim, largely based around how much clout you have within the industry. And I'm being absolutely serious when they think they know everything. People are doing work, and that's scabbing. Despite the fact that these shows didn't need any writers, because let's face it, who needs Hollywood writers?
This carpet is a person with feelings.
The reality is that bringing a show back without writers is an attempt to devalue our labor and devalue the work we do. The reason why you feel less valuable if a show comes back without you is because it's proving it doesn't need you. Then again, this is a union who wants minimum writer levels, so people forcibly have to get hired by law, whether they're required or not, and think there's no way to make a show without writing, despite the fact that they're bringing shows back without writers. California, what is going on with your education system? Whether that's picking guests, got nothing to do with writing, talking about who's going to speak, nothing to do with writing, or doing pre-interviews, still not writing. All of that is writing. None of that was writing. Have you ever considered a career as a window cleaner? Because I agree, licking them is very inefficient, but you do seem to be remarkably experienced in it. Our hosts will be ad-libbing and sharing their own remarks during the strike. No wonder Hollywood is losing its mind. They haven't actually been saying anything from their own head in the last decades. This is an entirely new world for them to find out that other people could just talk off the top of their head. I haven't written a script for any of my videos, I just drink more coffee. Next we'll find out that grinding coffee beans is struck work as well, except no one will care as they haven't even come up with a better insult yet. You'll have to let me know, what do I deserve?
Midlife crisis.
But sorry, I got sidetracked. We need to go back to our 5th level intellect.
Right now, you gotta drill down and stick to her guns.
And don't worry, she's brought a friend with her.
This is my sister. Yes.
Oh, sorry, it's her sister. I'm sure the brains run in the family.
I am striking because I believe in equality.
Nailed it. Just look at the expression on her face as she goes. Even she's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I was taught this was a good thing when I was 5 years old and I've never thought about it again. It's like she panicked and just defaulted to factory settings. If she says the word egalitarian, I'm out of here.
I believe in fair pay.
If I see anyone else asking for fair wages or fair pay, I'm going to climb onto the ceiling. These are Hollywood writers. It's supposed to be the peak of creativity. And yet they don't need fair pay, they need a thesaurus.
Man, we're doing this for a fair deal, man, that's all.
And everyone's mimicking the language. Even if we just go to Collider, you search for fair wages, and it's like, keep striking for fair wages, strike back for fair wages, pay fair wages, pre-production halt to pay their writers fairly, refusal to pay fair wages, strikes for fair wages, writers strike for fair wages, negotiate fair wages. And that's not a Collider thing, they're just using the language of the WGA.
When you get back to work, we understand that everybody needs to get a fair deal.
The strike isn't over when it's convenient for a few people in mansions. If they were paying attention, they'd know the content is on the picket line with the smart, creative, funny people with heart. Can't even come up with synonyms for fair wages. Creative says fair wages like a machine gun. The same people who love to talk about corporate greed, well, at the same time think filling their own bank accounts is the height of moral virtue. It got me once when they were even talking about Dancing of the Stars, and someone said a number of the contestants are members, and we hope that they see us out there, respect the picket line, and have a check of conscience.
Like...
Those people.
Because now you're evil if you go and start dancing. Dancing requires choreography, not writing. Standing up for corporate greed within the industry, but apparently not union ignorance.
People that we
awakening
need
of-
to educate.
Love them in the right direction.
There was even a guy where his own union went after him and he was forced to apologise and stand down from dancing, to the point where they're now on about postponing the show because the WGA think they own somebody's ability to dance. Better be careful if you do it at home, they might start knocking on your door. What are they going to start doing next? Calling people other medical conditions? Stop dancing in there, you triple heart bypass. And even today, when the guilds have been given their best and final offer to the point where they're just hammering out language, 5 months into the strike, 3 days of a marathon negotiation session with the CEOs of the studios themselves. Don't worry, the WGA focus as ever on exactly what matters. Stopping the complete immorality of Dancing with the Stars.
I don't even know you. I don't want you here. Just get out.
I'm sorry, but it's incredibly difficult to take you seriously at this point. In fact, in recent times, one of the few things that made sense is when the WGA was picketing The View and a random vacationing family gave up their tickets to The View to join them. And I'm like, I completely agree, mate. Standing around on a street corner is infinitely more entertaining than watching The View, unless you get Whoopi Goldberg to dance, because that would be pissing hilarious. Although we'd probably have the WGA come in and start measuring the distance between the two dancers to make sure that there was sunlight between them. At this point, the WGA are making themselves the Puritans of Hollywood. I don't want to see anyone dancing. We've banned happiness in California. It's actually incredibly easy to enforce. The culture's been working on that for decades as it is.
I believe in workers' rights.
Hold on, mate. She's talking about abstract concepts that she isn't going to define and probably couldn't if you asked her.
And, what's been going on.
Yeah, that's right. She believes in what's been going on, whatever that is.
Yes. Really?
And that whatever it is untenable. So why am am I here again? Oh yes, I want more money, and I'm just trying to spin that as if it's a moral imperative.
Compared to what's coming in.
Yes, didn't you know that's how we judge all wages? Judge by what's coming in. So if you make a TV show and it loses money, you obviously owe the studio because what came in was negative. Are you sure these are the points that you wish to negotiate on? Because remember, you're a union. What one person says speaks for all of you.
This carpet is a person with feelings.
But don't worry, it's not as if the WGA don't help their members. For instance, there's posts from the mayor of LA about how you can apply for renter's assistance, where they will pay 6 months of your rent for you if you're basically bankrupt. And this was, it was retweeted by the Writers Guild of America West because they're forcing their members to go bankrupt and want you to know where you can get your handouts from.
People, living in cars, losing homes.
You could be gainfully employed and working on improving your career. Or you could be part of the WGA where they make you beg for your rent. What a wonderful institution it is.
The words that when you look at them on Tuesday are not as bad as you remember them being on Monday afternoon.
The writer's work ethic there. Write something down, realize it's trash, come in the next day and think, yeah, that'll do. Remember, those are the people who turned down a compensation structure for development rooms that would have guaranteed a minimum of 10 weeks employment with a 43.8% pay increase to $14,000 a week. Yeah, that crap I wrote yesterday, that'll do. What did he say he was doing to it the day before?
And then the word, and then all the other words, and then the words you crossed out, and the words you didn't need.
But now it's a new day, I just can't be bothered anymore, quite frankly. Worth every penny.
Thousands of people are working hard to turn our words into moving pictures to entertain millions.
If you're an individual, mate, you might have a point, but when you start speaking about a union, you include all of Hollywood. You realise the strike went on so long because the programs that are being created are losing money, and the movies are losing money. Even if you're entertaining millions, at this point, what you need to entertain is more people. And you as an individual, yes, you made some shows that I like. But speaking as the union, well, now you've got a hit to miss ratio that is just not good enough.
What we do is important.
What you do is important if it's successful.
It's hard to remember that sometimes.
Certainly has been over the last few years.
Especially when your sanity hinges on convincing yourself of its unimportance.
That genuinely should be easy for most Hollywood writers. Like, if you wrote Ahsoka, that's entirely irrelevant to all of humanity.
But we relearned how important it was in the days.
We realised what it was like to actually have an audience when everybody was stuck in a box and unable to do anything else except watch us. Yes, that's right. The only thing Hollywood's got to do to be successful is to not have anybody have any other choice of any other activity on Earth.
The AMPTP treat us as if we are disposable and infinitely replaceable.
I'm not sure it's possible to put into words how I feel at this very moment in time, but I'll give it a go.
Based economy.
But in recent times, as the negotiations drew closer to an end, more people came out on the streets, and that meant more interviews. And the gold just kept on coming.
I am striking.
You gotta strike.
So reasoning is complicated and difficult to follow, but I think if we all concentrate together, some of us might be able to keep up.
We need extra pay. We need a little bump. We need a little something, a little taste over here.
Now, I did actually like this guy because he was one of the few that was actually honest. It wasn't like, we need fair... It was just like, no, we need more money. I want more money. I want to do the same amount of work for the same amount of effort and just get paid more. He's honest, and I can respect that. I don't want to put any more effort in. I just want you to give me more money because I like money. If the rest of them did that, rather than trying to come across as a hard-done-by little penguin, there'd be a lot less to take the piss out of. Of course, the rest of the union didn't quite see it that way. Don't call it extra pay. It's not extra. It's fair pay.
Midlife crisis.
Please, when you get that extra fair pay, could somebody buy a thesaurus? You can look it up online for different synonyms if you want. That's free. When it comes to labour wages, there's nothing extra in it. We create the value of any product. We only take a small fraction of its value back. Extra would be getting 100% of the product's value back, and then getting a tip.
Are you taking the piss?
Yes, you've all been enlightened there by the business acumen of a true titan in the industry. The best thing is his Twitter bio. Beware of false knowledge. It's more dangerous than ignorance. I feel like I need a moment of silence just so I can truly appreciate the greatness of what's just happened.
Like,
Those people.
Sometimes you find things online and you're like, hey, people are going to think I'm making this up. At no point when he was writing those two things did he think, hang on, can hold both those things in his head and never think about them ever again to see if they're accurate. Because they create all of the value of the product, all of it. The people who put up the hundreds of millions of dollars to make the thing, they don't put in any value at all. No. He makes all the value. Only gets a small fraction back, the fraction that he agreed to, but he's always aware of false knowledge. He's never going to fall into that trap. But as the negotiations drew on, the CEOs left, and they just left some people in their stead to talk out the final few issues or wording. Both sides started to release joint statements. We met for bargaining on Saturday, and we'll meet again on Sunday. Full of detail there. The only reason I can think for such sparse communication is it's like, okay, we don't want to say anything because it might offend, or at least from the WGA's point of view, anyway. Because the Armpit did say that it was their best and final offer. That went down about as well as a kick streamer in Japan. There were lots of comments like this one from a guy who is an ex-editor of The Hollywood Reporter who said, why say best and final? It's not true. Might be true. There might come a point where they just release a statement that goes, we will no longer be hiring union workers. People may actually have to apply for a job as an individual. Oh, the horror. But it only pokes the writers. When this ends, the WGA will need to sell the deal to the members. The last thing they want is the perception of taking a final offer. Why? I thought we all needed a thesaurus and we were just after a fair deal.
And that everybody needs to get a fair deal.
Are you telling me that you think they're not actually after a fair deal and they would turn one down just out of the pride of not wanting to be seen to take a final offer? What happens if the final offer was actually fair? More than fair? What if it was generous? Are you telling me that the WGA would turn down a generous offer all because of perception? It's about pride, is it? Is it about status or clout rather than just giving the writers what they deserve?
I deserve
what they deserve.
Of all the things to get angry at, if it is, we're giving you the best deal, really comes across as if you've got different priorities than just, I would like a fair pay increase. Of course, there was variety, always there to help people out with the important part of life. The Armpit's move to make a best and final offer is meant to signal to the Guild that the companies will not engage in further negotiation on the terms of the contract in any significant way. Yeah, mate, that's what final offer means. Thank you for condescendingly explaining what two words mean in the physically longest way possible. Thanks to Variety, I now understand basic English. But I think my favourite out of all of them was the guy who gave a thank you speech 2 days ago. It was like, look, everyone's saying the deals are going to end, and so I might not get to say goodbye if I don't do it now. And then decided to talk about England?
Labour Party leader Jeremy Corbyn.
Hey, mate, your guess is as good as mine. This is over in California, mate. You didn't have to drag us into it.
We are the many. They are the few.
I am Locutus of Borg.
But every time they do one of these speeches, it always reminds me of the same thing.
Real change never takes place from the top down. It always occurs from the bottom up.
Well, those people have never been subjected to the law. I love when they come out from quotes from some famous person that just isn't true at all. Spend 1 second talking about it before you just repeat him blindly.
We will be out here on the picket line as often as we can until the actors get a fair deal.
Oh, for
Midlife crisis.
We cannot lose the power and strength we've built during this fight. We must nurture it.
Yes, he goes on to say that the WGA and SAG have grown closer together and they must nurture it, and that was actually something that's been brought up before. That other unions supported SAG and the WGA during this strike, and now they have a debt. How will they repay it? Other people are going to be striking next year. They'll have contract battles of their own, and you owe them. Oh, we saw at the start how they treated people who went against their strike, and now you going to get it in return? This really is just levels of the mafia all the way down. Everyone bullying and attacking everybody, following other people's orders out of fear. A fake solidarity. We've seen people don't want to do it. They want to go and work. They want to earn money. If I want to go and dance on a TV show, that's what I'm gonna do. And then along come the boys in blue, the people with the batons, and tell you no, because I say so. This entire strike may be coming to an end. We may be nearing the close of it. But it's not the end for the union or the people in it, because they signed up to an institution that gave their freedom up all so that some other person in a random office somewhere can make them lose their job. their career, their house, their family on a whim. And if they dare cross a picket line to go to work, even if it's to dance, then they are treated like the immoral evil person just for wanting to survive. Yes, the strike may be nearing an end, but it created an entire breadth of entertainment all of its own.
I deserve to be paid for every hour that it is streamed online.
Well, making you realize that none of these people seem to truly appreciate the devil's bargain that they made along the way, or even what they lost in doing so. Then again, if you're making 14 grand a week and considering that
Starvation wages.
maybe crying yourself to sleep on a pile of money isn't that bad after all. Maybe they're willing to make that bargain as long as they can cry victim for it every few years. And obviously, insult the customer. But those are just my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know down in the comments below. Like the video if you like the video. Subscribe for more videos like this in the future, and I will see you in the next one. Bye-bye.